All right, so I want to try and make sense of what we are seeing on the screen, because the first thing that most people are going to say when they see this is, I have no idea what's going on here. It's hard enough to tell what each one of these lines means, each one of these individual indicators, and what's going on. So we're going to make sense of everything we see here and how we're able to judge whether or not we're in a good position, whether or not the market's going up, down, left, right, sideways. And then once you see what we are using and able to go, we're going to make a couple of quick predictions. And I'm going to try and do all of this in less than 20 minutes. So first things first, we're just going to go one at a time. The one on the bottom here, this is our moving average convergence. And a lot of people use this as a really good indicator because it's a very simple matter of green, price going up, red, price going down. And you'll see this blue line over top of this orange line when life's good, and the opposite when we're doing the opposite. Okay, so this is just something super easy to be able to check out. And when we're on different time indicators, which is what you see up here, we like to go with the biggest available time indicator. And we'll just ignore my drawings for right now. So on the monthly chart, you're able to see that this strong downtrend also correlates with this downtrend right here. And it looks like we're just starting 1 month of a little bit of a wick up. And that's because the month came down and it's already come up a little bit since then. Okay, so just delete those. Get the drawings again. So this monthly candle looks like it's still in full strong descent. The curves are arcing down, and it's giving no indication of really slowdown on the monthly. It looks bad. On the weekly, each one of these lines are now a week instead of a month. It looks like we've gone through the red. We're tapering off. The gap is closing down here, and it looks like it's getting ready within a week or two to flip. So when the monthly looks terrible for a whole month, it does look better within a week or 2 weeks in that sense of flipping this over, just based on this one individual indicator. And on a daily, it looks like we've had a run of about a week, maybe 2 weeks, just coming right in here where this has been positive action. And as you can see, it has been doing this slow trend up. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going through the roof, but when we see this ending like this and flipping over, and it seems like if this is a day chart, but it's saying we still might have a week left, and we definitely have more than a month, like less than a month candle, you could pretty much guess that this is looking bearish again, and it's heading back that way. 4 hours looks like it's kind of had a downturn after a long up. So I mean, this is a pretty good indicator, but it's a lagging indicator, meaning this happens after the chart happens. But it looks like a trend is easy to kind of identify right away. So that's the MACD, or the moving average, convergence, divergence, just a bunch of words that people are going to not really take in, and might as well just remember MACD. And it's a very simple green over red. So we'll get rid of that. We're going to go to the Bollinger Bands. Or actually, I'm going to do one even simpler, just volume. Move the chart a little bit up here. Sorry about that. All right, so the volume and how much is being bought and sold on a 24-hour basis. This should be pretty self-explanatory. When we have high amounts of volume, you should see big swings. When the volume is tapering off, we're in a kind of a bearish zone. Even though the price looks like it had been going down drastically from about here, the volume seems to be going up. So it seems like that's a good indication that money is moving through the market. And on the exact current timeline, it looks like it has moved over the course of a week down this way. A couple of big, it's definitely, if you were to draw a line around the average price, just take a look. There is some above average. Okay. And it's kind of now. So this does look bullish looking, or on the trend that looks like the market's in the right direction. We'll get rid of volume. Volume super self-explanatory. When the volume goes away, so does the money coming in. So does the prices going up. Bollinger Bands is just a super easy way, especially on the larger time frames, to identify when an explosion is going to happen in price. You'll see the bands getting tighter and tighter. For example, well, let me get off my drawing tool. Sorry, folks. So you can see when the bands got super tight down here, next thing you know, they widen up and we take this big price hike. They tighten out a bit here and then they blow up again and we get this giant price move. So the Bollinger Band tightness or width is basically something that's going to help reconfirm or show us again where we are sitting currently. Let's have a look at where we are right now. On the monthly, Bollinger Bands are about as wide as you can possibly get. And we are riding the low side bands. We're on the very bottom. We've touched the bottom. People thought we were dropping to the bottom of the earth. I kind of thought we were going to stop on the Bollinger Bands. And here we are riding it right now on the monthly. So basically the only way it has to move from here, besides completely breaking down and below, would be up. And let's even just call it halfway, would put us 40,000, would be incredible. So this looks like it's not about to have an explosive move because it's already open and we need it to tighten up. On a monthly, it's looking pretty loose. On a weekly, we had a little bit more of a tightening here and then the price broke down. Currently, we're riding the bottom of the Bollinger Band and hoping to go back up, which would drop us 30,000, which would be great. You can't really expect any topside Bollinger Band move until these tighten up to somewhere down here size. And on the daily, it does look like on the daily you're getting a tightening here. And we've come from the top and heading down. So it's very possible to expect a dropping down. Now, because of the date being the 26th and our next full moon cycle, which I'll get into in a few minutes, we could basically say that this might have a top side effect for the next couple of days and then completely bottom out in a widening in the next few days, but not currently. And we're going to bring down the time frames just to see, we're writing it down on the 4-hour. A big tightening on the 1 hour, and it did jump from the bottom halfway up here. So this is a positive move. Super tightening on the 30-minute, and it's riding the top side. This is looking like it could have a bullish breakout, maybe just for the close of the day. You can see the moving as we get out on a smaller time frame. But I don't like to put a lot of weight in anything below a 4-hour Kind of helps you show, especially on a daily. We're going to get rid of the Bollinger Bands. We're getting rid of volume. Just a couple of moving averages. We're looking at, people see the 34, the 100, and the 200 week moving averages. These are just easy peasy to look at real quick. Basically, you want to see white over green over red, and we're seeing white under green under red. This is the opposite of what we want to see. It is touching the 34 week moving average. And as you can see, when we do have white over green over red, this is the positive action. So nowhere near that. On the monthly, not at all. On the weekly, we are under the 200 week. Now, something interesting about this, just paying attention to this red line, is all of the other times that we've been under this red line, such as here currently, and this touching here, and this touching here. Every time we have one of these moments, zoom back out and have a look. It turns into this giant. That was the bottom. We touched the red line, and then it's swathing move up. So even though we are down and looking like shit, why are we down there? That's terrible currently. It does look like that might be the end of it. So I'm just trying to get rid of some of these lines without getting rid of what I drew in for on our daily moving, like we said. So I'm going to get rid of all the moving averages. I did bring up the moon cycle, which is about the same time. When I start talking about moon phases, I lose the glossy eyes of everybody. Go, oh no, he's gone from talking about timelines and averages and ratios to freaking solar charts. But as we can see over a dramatic period of time, that for the last couple of years, every single time we have one of these new moons, we get a little bump in the price. And every time we get a full moon, we get a dump in the price. And then the next month, let's just take a look. If you had just bought on this full moon dumping and you rode it up, you'd be up 80% by the new moon. And if you sold off there and just rode it down 30%, you could get a discount, buy back in. So you'd be up 80%, and then you'd be ahead 30 more percent. And then you'd buy back in here and ride this new moon up. And that got you to about here, which is another 65%. A couple of days after, you would have been even better. I mean, you could follow this pattern for the entire last cycle, and it just keeps happening. Just keeps happening. Just keeps happening. Just keeps happening. A couple interruptions during the eclipses, but we can get into a description of that, but that won't land me in my 20 minutes. So just a obvious question. People are going to be like, well, where are we in the cycle and what's coming next? So this is our last full moon, and we had a dumping. And since then, we've gone up 25%, just this climb here. It does look like it's tapering off, but I would expect a slight bounce, kind of like what I've drawn in this chart. So I would expect, just by the lines and the resistance levels and what we see, and the moving averages, if we had turned them back on, which I will do just for one quick second, I would expect that this moving average here is too high. And this one down here may be a little bit low. So let's just take in between and probably around 24,000 on the 28th. at the absolute most. And then a complete rejection and a breakdown. And I don't think we'll go much lower than the support system that's right here. That'll probably be the lowest at this particular time. And this would be the 12th of August, 10th, 12th of August. And then, of course, we go back up for the 28th of August in our next new moon. And then, of course, September 10th is our full moon, a downtrend. But I do believe that these will be gradually going up. So still maintaining a little bit of an up. But I think during the September month, we will see a recovery between the full moon of September and this new moon on the 25th. So the 25th, new moon, big pump. And the very next day, this 26th day, is the final day of the Shemitah, which is a very important Jewish holiday. I'm betting everything that I put into research, and it's terrible to make drastic predictions, but I am betting that this right here is the day that I sell 80% of my position in every coin that I have, because the market should be doing a pump because it's a new moon. And then immediately going into the Shemitah, I think in one candle this day, it's easily predicted that if we were to reach the levels of, let's say we were even at 30,000 around here. If we even hit 30,000 on the new moon, I'd say that we could easily dump down to 16, 15, anywhere, just a complete collapse day. It'll probably all happen in one giant candle and scare the shit out of everybody. And I'm only saying this because with complete surety, because for 10 to 15 years, I've known about the Shemitah cycle. And just to erase a bunch of this here for a minute. But I want to show without the map on. The beginning of the Shemitah cycle is September 7th, 2021. And the last day of the Shemitah cycle would be the 26th of September, 2022. And that's this line I have here. The first day would be this September. I'm going to zoom in for everybody. This day right here was the Shemitah very first opening day of the bell. Okay, so if you take a look, Bitcoin was trading in the morning at 53,000 and it completely collapsed. Almost 20%, 19.78. It's my birthday, 1978. It dropped $10,480 from 53,000 to 42,000 in one single candle that happened coincidentally at 9:11 in the morning. It recovered throughout the day and bought back up to about 46,000. But I just want to turn on my my moon phases here for a second. Our new moon actually happened the day before. This is very close to here. So our new moon had stopped the day before. I was talking for months in advance about this, but I was able to, on this little week of a pump, sell as much as I could by this day and have most of my position sitting in a stable coin. I think I had Tether back then, but I wouldn't touch Tether with a 10-foot pole right now. And then I watched this candle happen. And then I bought exactly at the bottom right here when that happened. And it was my greatest selling and buyback in a single move that I've done so far in crypto. But I know that peak cycle moon and dump cycle Shemitah day is 1 year apart from each other is happening again and on the 26th. So I'm doing the exact same cycle. I'm doing the exact same mindset. And I also just wanted to quickly touch on, because I'm going to run out of my 20 minutes for sure. Wanted to just quickly have a little look at something that's happened with this Shemitah day that we can pick out of the candle. So some of these magic numbers that I've always liked to talk about, especially when I was talking about Masonic stuff, was like the 11s, the 22s, the 33s, the master numbers, the double numbers. If we take the Shemitah day and we take our counter and we just look for these big, massive dump days from the Shemitah, look what happens when we go over 77 bars, 77 days, giant dump day. Let's go over even further, 111 bars, 11177. From the Shemitah, we get these absolute capitulation moments. And then let's go back over the other way and just see if we have any this way. I actually haven't gone this way, so it's going to be just as exciting for me. So we got the September 7th day, 88, of course. All right, just the first one I saw. Let me try to break into the room. I'm closing my timeline down even quicker. So basically, just because we can take these master builder numbers, get a pretty good view of when next major traumatic events will happen with this crashing cycle, and then we combine that with the solar cycle, and then we combine that with the moving averages, the volume, the MACD. The MACD was telling us that we don't have months, but we do have a couple of weeks. So it looks to me like we have this building period, a giant position to sell off, and then a huge selling point. This would be my thesis for what's coming up in the very next couple of months before we move into our winter cycle. And I will be back with my courses by then and help get people better situated for the coming prep. And now we'll be able to clean up this chart. So I will delete these as well. And the chart is now clean. And we have a better understanding of what we were looking at. And to make it even a little bit simpler, let's turn it back to a line. And there's our Bitcoin. Bitcoin analysis with a little bit of a prediction. Thanks for tuning in. I hope I kept this under 20 minutes for everybody. I'm the Coin Guy. You can find me at CoinGuy.Bitcoin. I can help you learn, or I can help do the work for you. But you've got to take the plunge and jump in the pool. Thanks for not drowning, folks.